Okay guys, welcome back. So this time I'm going to show you how to move from your full auto to the next big step in your photography. So if you take your camera in your hands, you have these modes. And if you have been reading the manual at least a little bit, because the naming is gonna be different on the different brands of the cameras, but I have here the most biggest step that I have taken in the picture taking after I realized that the full auto is not really doing my thing. So I selected the AV mode up here on the dial. So that's actually aperture priority. I realized that I haven't explained that before. Aperture is how much is your lens closed or open. So if you are taking a picture, the most important thing is light. You have to have light, and the different sensors within the cameras require different amount of light. The biggest sensor requires less light because it can capture more light quicker. If you have a less surface, the incoming light is gonna hit this surface less times than if you have bigger surface, and the light's gonna hit that surface much more often than a small surface. Those are the basic difference between the sensors within the cameras. So when you have a sensor on your phone, it might look that it's actually getting enough light, maybe sometimes more than your actual professional camera, but that's only because your phone is doing this little trick of more time exposed towards the light, but that we're gonna talk about that later. This time we have this mode called aperture priority. What does it mean? You basically have control over the aperture on your camera. That means how much blurred out is the background behind the subject. And now we are getting into good stuff, because as soon as you can change the aperture, you're basically telling the camera how much space of the photo will be in focus. You can start being creative, but this time really creative, because if you remember in the full auto, that guy can set all the settings within your camera. It will decide everything for you. A lot of the times it's not correct. It's not good, basically. So this time we are taking a little bit of control to setting into aperture priority. So we are setting how much light get onto the sensor and how much exposed we want that picture to be. If we want it a little bit dark, a little bit more bright, that's what you are setting out. Shutter speed is going to be decided by the chip on the inside. The aperture priority is a big step. Was even for me, because in the beginning I suddenly started taking so beautiful pictures because I finally got the thing I wanted to be focused on in focus. So guys, with the knowledge you have right now, that's the aperture priority. Choose up your apertures, go outside and take those new pictures with the somehow knowledge of how to control your camera manually, because this is a big step forward from the full auto to the aperture priority. That's the biggest step in the photography. And try to use the entire widespread of the aperture, because at the beginning I was trying to use only the lowest numbers, or maybe the 2 times the minimum number of the aperture. But there is also a magic in using aperture like f9, f11. But be careful and don't push those numbers too far, because on the less expensive lenses, if you will push the aperture like f22, you will see a little bit distortions, you will see cracks, you will see, because if you're choosing the f22, you will see almost everything in focus, but you will also see diffractions that are on the glass within the lens. So with this knowledge that you have now, choose the aperture priority, choose your chosen aperture and go outside. Go and take those beautiful pictures. And if this video helps you, you know what to do. Subscribe, like and comment down below, and I will see you in the next video. And until that time, stay creative.